Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Zeng This.
Woo!
I'm Zenger. We got
Ellie,
and we're gonna be the host for this podcast. I guess we should start off today with some. We got some news. Aside from us having a podcast, we got some news from the front, from the people out there on some stuff. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to use my?
Go ahead, you go first.
Okay, so earlier, Rockstar released an image, and it was of their symbol in sort of a red background. Looked very reminiscent of Red Dead Redemption. Now, is this what it is? Who knows? They haven't really said, but that's my thoughts. You saw it too. I showed it to you. We tweeted it out to people. What do you think this is?
Well, I know I would be very excited if it was a new Red Dead. I played many hours of that game. The first one, of course.
Yes, I think that's what it is. I mean, Rockstar is very... I like to think they're very blatant sometimes about what they're doing. So, I mean, this is, I think, them kind of going, hey, we're about to announce something. Here's a hint. It's not a very subtle one. So that's my thoughts on that. So I thought that was very cool. I kind of caught that early on.
Well,
so.
They've been hinting about a new one
for a while.
Yeah,
now.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was.
Or this could possibly be a remake of Redemption. They might be porting it over. I think they'd be porting it over and then making a new one.
Right.
That could be a possibility.
Something to have fun with until it comes out.
Yeah, since everyone's all big on, porting over or remastering or HD versions of games. So, I mean, that would be a definite candidate. I personally think for that. That's well enough playtime to really justify that price tag again. Mm-hmm. So you had something.
Well, I'm a dork, and I used to rush home every day from school to watch a certain show called The Power Rangers. Now,
wait, the original version? Are we talking
yes.
the original? Okay, so
yes.
We're talking the original here.
With Tommy, know.
Yes.
And I recently saw the trailer from was New York Comic Con?
Yes,
is that what it was
that
from?
is correct.
And I know I don't want to get too excited because, you get too excited and you get your hopes up too much and you see the movie and you're disappointed. But I thought it looked kind of cool. I was excited.
I've watched a lot of Power Rangers as a kid. I don't have, like, this affinity for them like I do other stuff. But, I mean, I like it. My only thing is, and I'm sure this is something that's been pointed out by many other people, but I feel that their armor and stuff looks like Tony Stark went and abducted a ton of kids and put them in colored armor. I
don't think they've shown enough of it yet for you to like. I mean,
no, they have full picture. They have a full picture of them, and they haven't just shown it like in the trailers though. They hint at it, but there has been a full revel of them in it, and it's got a glowing chest piece, and it's very reminiscent of an Iron Man armor. But like I said, I'm not the first person to point that out. I'm sure I just kind of saw that and went, oh, it's the new, it's the Mark whatever he's on right now armor. But so on the topic of trailers. Star Wars Rogue One released another trailer.
Yes.
That we actually just watched it before recording, just to get a nice little, if we could pick out some little stuff on it. Is there anything that you took away from it that you saw that you were kind of like, wow? Because I got some stuff.
I'm sure you do.
I know I do. I can't wait to talk about it, but ladies first.
I don't know. I probably haven't watched it as much as you have.
Twice.
Oh,
only
okay.
Twice only.
Okay.
And one of them was just then. So.
I don't know. It looks really fun. I have a good feeling about her. I kind of like
the main character.
Yeah. I kind of like the way she is and everything. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. It looks pretty cool.
So we got to see some Vader in this.
Yes.
Some over-the-shoulder Vader, some Vader walking forward.
Some running.
People running around too from stuff from ATSTs, from I want to say AT-ATs. I know that's not what they are. I cannot remember what they're referred to. I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to keep going. but it's like supply. They're a supply transport, but they're basically AT-ATs for the most part.
A little bit of Forrest Whitaker.
Yes.
You can't go wrong with that.
But the thing I liked, and this is something I don't know why, the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer, when it showed the city and it kind of panned up and you, like, people were walking, you could see the Star Destroyer, like, in very low orbit above them or just floating above the city. I don't know why. That's something in Star Wars I've always wanted to see, because, I mean, I'm like, they got this fleet of these ships. So if they're, like, gonna... Before they had the Death Star, I mean, that was an imposing thing to have this giant ship sort of floating over your city, or, you know, a few of them kind of maneuvering around your planet. I mean, they can do a bombardment. There's plenty of things that they can do, and I just thought that was cool to finally see that in a movie, like it just sitting there. It's something subtle. It's something that I think I'm probably the only person that appreciates it, but I thought that was really cool.
Well, and I did like too the it looked like the images in the sands.
Oh, the statue, the Jedi statue that was knocked over.
Yes, that was really cool.
I kind of know some stuff about what that's possibly is. I'm not going to talk about it for spoiler reasons.
Okay, well, because
there's a reason they're on a certain planet and there's a certain thing there, and this is a theory, but I think one of the cast members confirmed it. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it on here. I'm not out to spoil stuff without, first episode, don't want to start off by spoiling things for people. So I guess, do you have anything else for us for like hot topics of the day and everything?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I guess the final thing, I thought you were going to bring it up, but I will. Aquaman's wife, Mira. That image that looked comic accurate. It looked really cool.
She looked really BA.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Justice League. Like the way everyone looks phenomenal. I can't wait for it. I just wanted to touch on that. I know it's been out for a little bit, but that's something that I wanted to give a quick, little nod to, because I saw that and I was like that. It looks good. So I guess we'll move on now into just explaining what we're going to be doing on this podcast. For this podcast, what we're going to be up to. Do you want to start, or do you want me to go?
Well, we want to do a weekly podcast for you guys, and usually start out with a little bit of current stuff.
Yeah, current stuff, or just stuff that's piqued our interest within, comics or movies or TV shows or gaming. Just something that's piqued our interest, either that day or within since the last record, or something we might have just ran across that could be old too, but just something that's a nice little, hey, check this out.
Or, something that we wanted to discuss.
Real quick, that doesn't have an entire segment behind it.
Right.
Yet. Some of those I think could grow and blossom.
Okay. But I also wanted to talk about, too, some like little segments that we may not do every week for the podcast, maybe once a month. Also maybe little special,
events, things
that we want to do. One thing I would like to talk about is I love anime.
I want to defend. I enjoy anime too, but I'm very stubborn on what I watch and what I don't.
Yes,
so
if it's not Akira.
So, well, we can get into that in a whole separate thing. We don't need to be calling each other out yet. So that comes later.
Okay. Maybe around once a month, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but goal of about once a month. Just have a little quick segment of talking about maybe what's coming up for the new anime shows, and see if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, or like what type of shows you like, what type of shows I like, but just something short and quick, little Ellie's Anime Corner.
I was about to say you have a name for it, so I mean you can
it's
say it.
Not a very exciting name, but yes.
I don't think any of our segment names are going to be that exciting.
Yes.
So moving on from that, we're also going to have, this is something that I think we're going to bring in later, the Ellie's E-Rate movies.
Yes.
And that is you basically talking about some sci-fi original or some sci-fi, just some, if you find a movie in the $5 bin that movie is still better quality than what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, these movies are not going to be movies that are by themselves in that $5 bin. It'll be like a sci-fi collection. So it'll be like 5 movies for $5.
So something that you would recommend if someone just wants to watch something that's just terrible.
Or, and I know you all are guilty of this, but you know how you put the Sci-Fi Channel on a Saturday afternoon and you hit your DVR to record and they have themes, so all day long is big monster movies, or the next time it's all like space operas, or so just those kind of movies to where they didn't make the theater by any means, and they're just fun and cheesy to watch.
So we got through those two. Those are the kind of things that Ellie, I'll of course, me or one of the co-hosts will of course be commenting on that as well. So you got that. So you got those things from Ellie. A thing that will be, we're going to try to tackle different subjects every week. We might get to 1 or 2 topics. It just depends on time and depends on what we get to. We've kind of picked our own, but of course you can go on any of our social media sites. They'll be listed in the show notes, and we'll probably do a shout at the end of the show to them. And we want to hear from you guys on what you'd like us to talk about or cover too after a while. We got stuff lined up for a while now, but we want to hear from you guys on what stuff you'd like to hear us discuss on the show. So those are going to be some fun stuff. Another thing, and this is a working title name. We both read tons of graphic novels. The other 2 guest co-hosts on here, which are Rob and Kelly, also read a lot of graphic novels as well and comics. So we have the going title right now. If we can think of a better title, we'll come up with it. But the Comic Readers Club, which is basically, let's say at the end of the podcast, we're like, hey, I'd like to check out, Superman for all seasons. We're going to, the hosts for next week are going to read it. We're going to, have an in-depth discussion the next week. So that way you get a cool, insight into, hey, maybe I want to pick up that for myself so I can, be able to comment or say something to it.
Yeah, and we're not going to be talking about always like a graphic novel that just came out this week. We're delving into some of the older stuff too, some stuff that you might have missed. So if you're reading a current copy of Fables and you were like,
or Batman,
I wonder what, how it started or what happened before. We want to go back and do that and just, maybe pick one volume.
Yeah, this stuff is stuff we're not going to be doing every week. This is kind of it might get thrown in every once in a while depending on our workload and what we're up to that week. And also, of course, according to your guys' responses to stuff and recommendations too. Like if you got a graphic novel you'd love to hear us discuss, let us know. We'll see if we can get a hold of it, read it, and give our feedback on it. So that kind of covers the basis of, some stuff that we have at the moment. There are some few things in the works once you get down the road. The other thing I guess I could mention, I can see you looking at it, is the Gauntlet, which is just kind of a challenge thing that I thought we could do to where, like, let's say someone's not caught up on a season of a show.
Oh, jeez.
You have to try to watch the entire season of that show before the next podcast or get caught up. So that's something, like I said, that might come up later. We don't know. We're going to mess with a few different things and see what works. But the main focus of this are the topics that we're going to pick. And we've got some cool ones that we've thought of. So we'll get into those more in depth on the next podcast, of course. We'll get into some of those.
Right.
So do you got anything else for this part, or should we get into one of our first topics?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right,
cool. So me and one of the co-hosts discussed a possible DC animated movie that might be coming out. It's been hinted at. There's no confirmation 100% that it's being done. But we kind of took that as, let's say it is getting done, and let's get our opinion on both what they could do and what we think of the graphic novel that it would be covering. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. This is Zeng This. right, this is going to be a fun topic. We're just dropping in. Rob has had no time to prepare for this one. This is not one that he has had any time to prepare for, but I'm going to drop this on him. What are these?
Hush.
You do know that there's a rumor going around that this might be the next DC animated movie. Now, I have allowed them to ruin Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
Yes.
Technically, sure. Superman, Batman, Supergirl, which was the follow-up to that.
I never saw that one.
It was I think Apocalypse or something is what it's called. It's where Darkseid gets involved, and they vaguely do it. But if I dare say, this is sacred in my book.
Agreed.
This is a sacred comic, in my opinion, that you don't mess with. Now, do you think they could do a faithful adaptation of Hush in animated form?
Could they? Yes. Would they? Maybe.
I mean, you have heard what they did with Killing Joke, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen that actually. I might drop by Redbox and rent that on my way home.
But they basically went through and added an entire Batgirl story that wasn't asked for or needed to just kind of set up her whole involvement. Yeah. And it's kind of the last maybe third of the movie involves the actual Killing Joke plot.
And the Killing Joke isn't that long, so...
I mean, they had to buff it somewhere, but this can hold up on its own. Hush has the potential to hold up on its own. I can just see them ruining it by the way, spoiler for if you have not read the comic by now, stop listening to this, go out, buy, read, find some way to get a hold of this and read it, because there's going to be spoilers aplenty about to happen. All right, you've been warned. I feel like they'd make it more about the Joker or something would have been behind it more so than the Riddler. Or they try to twist it because they're like, oh, Riddler's not that interesting of a character. I'm like, that's kind of the point of it. Riddler isn't that interesting of a character, but he's the one behind it.
I mean, Riddler is a great character, I think, but what the story does really well, though, is halfway through Batman and Nightwing, or it's Nightwing, right?
Yeah,
not Robin. Yeah, Batman and
Robin's
Nightwing.
in it.
I know he's,
but he's not real. It's more Nightwing.
But when they run into Riddler, it's Nightwings with Bat. It's been a few years since I've read it, so since I wasn't prepared, I'm just making sure I got the.
I'm fact checking you as we go. Yeah, it looks like. Let's see here. You can keep talking. I'm fact checking.
Anyway, they go after the Riddler, and there's. Inner dialogue or inner commentary by Batman in the story, and he says like Riddler's not a threatening villain to him anymore. He's predictable.
You're not a threatening villain to me. You're predictable.
Yep, just like that. And so it really paints out to be like, you know, Riddler's yesterday's news, and then once you get to the end and you find out Riddler's actual role is
he's orchestrated all of this.
Yeah, just awesome way to end it. And
he's basically been messing with Batman this whole time.
On top of that, he figured out Batman's secret identity, and he won't even reveal it because there's a line at the end, like a riddle that's solved is no longer.
Right. I'm gonna try not to look. I'll fact check myself immediately. But what do you do with it's something an elephant on your fence?
I don't know, man. It's been years.
Oh, let's see here.
But
here we go. What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? Time to buy a new fence. Everyone knows that riddle, so on and so forth. And Batman goes, that's the point. There's no point to, knowing the answer to a riddle if everyone knows it. So his rebuttal is kind of, you know my secret identity, but if you tell everybody, then what's the point of it?
Yeah.
There's also another thing. I know this is kind of getting really distant from this, but in the New 52, Batman is able to confront Joe Chill about killing his parents, and Joe Chill's like, "Well, I know who you are, and I know who you are," and he kind of Batman responds with, "Yeah, you know who I am, but if you go around telling people that you're the one that created the Batman, they're gonna want to come after you." It's kind of the point of this is a whole different topic, but does people knowing who Bruce Wayne is affect him being Batman?
Depends who it is, I guess.
But you want to know who is a secret identity? That's very important. If let's just say Lex Luthor possessed the Flash, Wally West version, and found out who he was, how would that go?
What's happened on the Justice League cartoon?
One of the greatest moments, by the way, in that TV show. Takes off the mask.
Looks in the mirror and goes, I have no idea who this is.
Greatest moment, alluding to the fact of some secret identities just aren't that interesting.
So,
we're getting off topic, though, but this has, almost every Batman villain at their peak of being awesome Batman villains too.
At the beginning, it opens up with Killer Croc's the first villain he runs into, right?
Keep talking.
Yep. Now we got to fact check everything since
we got it right here.
It's been years since I've read
Yes, it is Killer Croc.
And anyway, he runs into Killer Croc, runs into Poison Ivy.
Runs into Catwoman.
Well, runs into Catwoman. She's not really a villain in the story, but
then Poison Ivy. So
runs into Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, Joker, Superman, and all of Batman's other favorite arch nemesises.
Huntress is in there.
Well, he doesn't fight Huntress, but
she's
anyway.
There, Amanda Waller's in it.
Yeah, Batman does fight Superman at one point.
And beats him, technically, if you ask me.
Not to the extent of Dark Knight Returns, but he does fight Superman and he does come out on top.
He does what Batman does best. He might not be able to match him strength-wise, but he outsmarts him by using Lois as a decoy.
Yeah.
Which is, it also establishes the Kryptonite ring in there, too, which is another thing that's very important in the Batman mythos. And he actually even, I think, admits there in the comic that he's breaking his hands he's breaking bone every time he's punching Superman almost.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because, that makes sense. If you're punching somebody that's basically impervious, you'd probably be hurting yourself way more than you'd ever hurt them.
Yeah. Also, this story is under the period where it was known that Jason Todd is dead. Now he's back, but
this is pre New 52,
that nice era where someone died and actually stayed dead.
Relevance.
And they make good use out of that storyline, and Jason Todd sort of in a way that storyline coming back to haunt Batman. Just a lot of good storyline to the series, and I think what we're worried about is
them taking it and just not getting the point, or just ruining it, and just there's enough material in here easily for they're normally about 90-minute movie. There's easily enough material in here if you cut out certain parts even.
Public Enemies, of course, makes us worried, because I got real excited when they said that was an animated movie, and
they did I personally think they did a good job with it. There's stuff that they could have improved on, the ending being the biggest point where it dropped off.
The ending was the biggest part of the graphic novel. I don't want to explain the entire plot of the storyline, but Captain Atom, who's been kind of an antagonist through the story, ends up
sacrificing himself. This is Public Enemies. We're going to Public Enemies.
Yeah, Public Enemies, not Hush.
For this brief diatribe.
At the end, despite being the bad guy, he comes to realize he was wrong and does the heroic thing he needs to do at the end of the story. Pick it up and read it. Don't watch the movie. Read the book.
Or watch the movie and just cut it off with about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, whatever. In the movie, like, there's a scene with Captain Atom, Superman beats him up, and that's that. And they really missed, like, the point, I think, that the comic was trying to make. And that took away a lot from the movie, I thought. Really kind of ruined it for me. But then there's... Of course, Dark Knight Returns was an amazing animated movie.
Which was done later, so that was done later on in their animated movie series and stuff. Which, like I said, I have high hopes for this being, a really well done movie. I mean, there's plenty of content. I don't see why they would need to add stuff.
I mean, Killing Joke, we've already talked about that. Year One was done really well.
Yes.
I've never read the comic Under the Red Hood was based off of.
That's good. That's actually really... I haven't. I need to. I really do. But that was good on its own. I'm like...
Yeah, Under the Red Hood... I don't like that they brought Jason Todd back.
But since they did, that's the best way to do it.
But if they had to do it, they did it as good as they could do it. And I really liked Under the Red Hood.
I'm trying to think of other... I mean, they got the whole New 52 stuff, which they've been working on, which is doing okay. But then again, of course, you got the newer stuff with DC now. So, I mean, it's just a whole continuity shift.
Justice League Final Frontier was amazing.
That was. And that is vaguely based off of the comic, but I like that it's the whole retro aspect to it. Wonder Woman I like in it because she's actually... very Amazonian-like, and I like the aspect that she's, she's bigger than Superman in it. Like, she's taller, and she's got, muscle to her, and it makes sense. I mean,
I really like the scene where Batman confronts Martian Manhunter, and he says some line like,
I got $1 billion...
piece of radioactive rock for the man of Metropolis, and for you, all I need is a penny for a book of matches.
Definitely great Batman stuff, and I mean, we could definitely get into Martian Manhunter's underuse and just everything he's in, but that's a topic for another day. Back to Hush, I just feel like if I want to call out where they're going to go wrong, I just feel like they're going to make the Joker more involved than he is. And the Joker in Hush is there for what he needs to be and then kind of leaves. And I like that. I like the Joker as a villain, but in some stuff, just have him there for what he needs to be there for. Don't have him being some, overarching, he has to be... He's behind it all. It's like he can be a pawn sometimes too, and I like that he was kind of used as one.
Yeah.
Two-Face is in it, though it's technically Harvey Dent.
The animation in the movie, hopefully they're really going to try and go for a Jim Lee look.
It's old school Jim Lee look.
Yeah.
I mean,
because the artwork in Hush is some of the best that's ever been done.
Definitely. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted by flipping through it real quick. And
it was also done during the time period where Lex Luthor's president.
Was this during that time?
Yeah, there's a brief period where you see Lex Luthor as president in there.
Which, of course, ended with Batman, Superman, Public Enemies.
Yeah. Same writer. Jeff Loeb.
Yeah, there's Scarecrow. There's Clayface.
For those of you
Oracle's
who can't
in it too.
See us, we're currently flipping through the comic.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Remember when Batman was good? Remember Barry?
I remember.
Oh man. No, I mean Batman's still good. I mean, not to say that the New 52 stuff doesn't have its redeeming qualities. Scott Snyder's run with Greg Capullo as artist on it was an amazing run, but I feel like their run, the newer stuff with superheroes is this overarching, you know, like multiple 50-some issues runs you have to do now. Where this was a limited run, and I think that's why this is so good, where their stories last over, you know, graphic novel to graphic novel to graphic novel. This one was technically, I mean, you can buy it as one graphic novel. I have the dual copy because I've had it for a while and everything, and that was the thing. Like, back in the day, it was, you know, story points that were turned into graphic novels, as opposed to the entire runs of stuff. No, I just wanted to kind of touch on that real quick, because, I mean, there is still good Batman. It's just this, for me, I feel like, I mean, I don't know if you agree, Rob. There's quintessential, like, this is the absolute version of characters in comics. To me, this is the absolute Batman, in my opinion. You never get more Batman-y than he does in this. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely other stories that are really good. Like, I'll admit, Court of Owls, like I said, the Scott Snyder run, Long Halloween, Dark Victory. Those are definitely good. It's just this is what made me go, yeah, I'm digging Batman right now. I mean, Tower of Babel also is good, but that's got a lot of 90s in it. That's very 90s, I feel, now. It's dated itself slightly, I feel.
Yeah. Batman's the best part of the story.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other, like, characters that have, like, this is their, like, nexus point of, you know, if there is a version of them you need to read to get into it, here's where you start.
Killer Croc's pretty brutal in that.
In this? Yeah, he's really good in this. Once again, though, it kind of it is, you know, the Riddler is kind of a joke character.
The relationship between Batman and Catwoman is done pretty good,
and then it's just kind of left after I think the comic's done too. It's picked up on a while later, but still. Oracles
is Ra's al Ghul,
Ra's al Ghul, whichever way you want to pronounce that, by the way, is in it. He has to fight him at some point.
Yeah, because Batman goes back to confront him when he thinks he's seen Jason Todd.
And he said that someone did mess with his Lazarus pits, and wasn't that the Riddler who did that, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I think so.
The Riddler messed with it and everything. Poison Ivy's, of course, in it. Clayface makes an appearance. Harley Quinn and the Joker are in it. There's the new villain Hush, who's pretty interesting and everything. And I know there's a Hush Reborn. Is it Hush Reborn or Heart of Hush is the follow-up? I've never read it. I just don't.
It's like a Hush Returns or something.
I think it's Heart of Hush. Fact-checking time. Time where I fact-check stuff that I should have done beforehand.
I know it's not written by Jeff Loeb.
It's not. Alright, created by Jeff Loeb, created by Hush character. Hush Returns. Okay, I thought it was. Oh, nope. Yay! I was right.
So there's Hush Returns and Heart of Hush.
And Payback apparently has something to do with it too. Batman Reborn, House of Hush. Wow, he's apparently in Batman Eternal. Batman Beyond, Flashpoint.
Yeah, he does make an appearance in Arkham Knight, but I wasn't big on that.
Technically, he makes an appearance in Arkham City too.
Yeah, he does.
As we're just basically reading over
appearances. Actually, he makes a vague appearance in Arkham Asylum, so...
He's not, like... It's not him, it's somebody else, right?
Well, one of the Riddler puzzles is you have to identify... I forget what the riddle is, but the answer is Thomas Elliot, and it's written on a chalkboard somewhere in Arkham Asylum, and you have to... hit the button or whatever.
Yeah. And this was actually a 12-part storyline. So, I mean, it covered a lot of ground.
A year?
Huh?
Is it one issue a month? So
yeah, so over a year. I mean, I think... Oh, wait, that's his... Yeah. I mean, I think they did a great job with it. It's definitely... I mean, I don't know if it's continuity anymore. Who knows what's continuity anymore in Batman. Well, once again, read good stories. That's, I think, the point I'm trying to get across here. Is this is a good story that might be overlooked, and it's definitely like if you want like the quintessential version of a character, I think this is it for Batman. Excluding, like the other ones I said.
Definitely is for Riddler.
It is definitely.
I'm a Riddler fan. I love this story.
And if you want bang for your buck, it's got every single Batman villain almost in it. Like, everyone's in this. In some aspect.
Yeah, we want to nitpick. We can name some that aren't.
We can. Bane's not in it.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, I don't think.
No, Mr. Freeze isn't involved. But yeah, it's definitely a good story. It's, like I said, only 12 issues, which by comparison to stuff nowadays is next to nothing. But, it's a great story. Great Superman versus Batman fight, if you like to see that. It's definitely,
It's not as long as Dark Knight Returns
or Batman Endgame. Actually, it's about the length of Batman Endgame.
And there's no must save Martha in it.
Yeah, it's very Batman obviously can't win. It's Superman. You can't really beat him unprepared, and but Batman uses his, of course, genius and intellect to outwit him and outdo him. So that's definitely good. So definitely a great read. If you guys have recommendations for us to look over, or what's your quintessential, what's your absolute Batman story, like the one that if you are trying to convince somebody to read Batman or get into comics, you hand them this and go read this, and you will not be disappointed.
And if they are doing an animated movie, I'd say pick this up and read it before the movie comes out, so you can at least know the way the story is supposed to be told. I don't know if they're going to mess it up or not.
I just don't see what they could do. It's there. Everything's in there that you need.
I wouldn't have thought that they would have messed up Public Enemies as bad as they did.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this part. So, thank you guys. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back.
So that was a fun conversation. One of my, like I said, I'm pretty sure I said it about 1,000,000 times, one of my favorite graphic novels in, not just DC, but Marvel and everything included. Hush is one of my downright favorite graphic novels and storylines in the universe. So, I definitely love talking about it and everything. Mm-hmm. Might be a recommendation for the reader. The comic book reading club. I'd love to talk about it some more, get everyone involved. But that's neither here nor there. How did you enjoy everything from that? That was an interesting discussion for you. Since you couldn't be involved in that one, sadly, but
I love Batman. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely haven't read as many of the some of those. I've read other. I know.
We're gonna fix that.
I know.
We're gonna fix that.
I would definitely read that if we did that with our comic book readers club.
Need a new name. Someone come up with a new name,
yes,
please.
We'll take suggestions.
Please. So on that, I guess we're gonna start wrapping things up here. Okay. I guess we need to go over some important bullet points for this evening.
Yeah. Well, I guess the first thing is we want to make sure you know how to find us.
There's going to be stuff in the show notes. There's, but I'll just go over some real quick. Zeng This on Facebook. Zeng This on Twitter.
iTunes, Zeng This.
iTunes, Zeng This if you got Apple devices.
Instagram.
If you don't, I'll get to Instagram because that's actually a different one. If you don't have Apple devices, if you want to listen to us, SoundCloud. SoundCloud, Zeng This. All of them, one word. Except for SoundCloud and iTunes, it's Zeng This as 2 words. Now, if you want to follow us on Instagram, we're trying to work on getting some more stuff out on there. That is actually under Zeng This Podcast. Once again, show notes will have that information in there. There is another way you can find us, and you can actually help us out, Ellie, if you would.
Well, I am almost finished, but I am working on a Patreon account for us. And we want to try to We're trying to set that up because we want to, get some better equipment. Just the maintenance of having a podcast, the monthly fees for some places, and that kind of thing. And we're going to have different reward levels.
Exclusive content.
Yes, because we all know that you want that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking about having the once a month. Exclusive podcast, maybe even thinking about, since we love playing video games, we're thinking about maybe one of the levels be able to play with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have Xbox One and PS4, so depending on what you have, we can do that.
Now the Patreon's definitely a work in progress,
yes.
but we want to have that available to people if they do want to help us out and everything. It's greatly appreciated. Like I said, we appreciate any help you fans out there are willing to give us. So there's that. I would personally like to say the biggest possible thank you that I can say to the guys at Rumor Flies podcast. Yes. I cannot express the amount of gratitude I have. They have helped us out here so much. They help me, find some great information on how to get started. Just some great pointers. Have been helping me along a lot of the different steps along the way. They just finished up their second season, actually. You can find them on iTunes and, of course, basically wherever you find podcasts. Definitely look them up. It is Rumor Flies. They cover rumors, stuff like that, Pop Rocks and soda, make your stomach, stuff like that. Does alcohol cook down with food, just plenty of different things. That's just like remedies, stuff like that. Just stuff that you've been told for years and you never went, I wonder if that's true or not. These guys cover it. I cannot say I enjoyed them. I enjoy listening to them. I enjoy them as a podcast, and I just cannot thank them enough for all the help that they gave us here. Like I said, go check them out. I know we don't have much content available yet. They have a good bit of content, so check them out in between, our podcast for the time being. Like I said, once again, thank you guys at Rumor Flies for everything you've done to help us out. Another person I'd like to give out a quick shout out to is all of our music is actually done by one of my good friends. You can find him on Twitter, basically almost anywhere. His tag is at DJ Golden Boy 89. He does all of our music. I can't thank him enough. He's given us some awesome music, so that's definitely great. So I guess that's gonna kind of wrap up the stuff for today, at least. We definitely, like I said, wanted to thank all of you for listening to us.
And we can't say enough. Please, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you might want to hear next time. We really, really like to hear viewer feedback.
Yeah, we like to hear feedback, and we like to, get the listeners involved. If there's topics you want us to cover, we'd love to hear them. We want your guys' ideas, because trust me, we got a list of stuff, but if you guys tell us what you want, we'll definitely push that list back, because, we got some interesting stuff on there, but I'm sure you listeners can come up with some better stuff for us. With that being said, I think we're gonna finally wrap stuff up. We're kind of jogging along now, but we'd like to thank you guys for listening to this podcast. We'll be back next week, and do you want to give a quick hint at the topic, because we already have one of the topics picked out for next week.
Oh yes,
that we've done.
Video games that have been made into movies, or video games that we don't necessarily think should be made into movies.
It's a discussion on that topic. I know that's maybe a touchy subject for some people, but we have some cool input. We also got one of our co-hosts on. We got Kelly with us for that one, so that would definitely be a fun ride. We'll see you guys next week, and once again, thanks for listening. This has been Zeng This. Bye.